one part of the circuit is touching another part, and that causes the circuit breaker to trip.
This is the Cheka Pro Radio Show. Cheka Pro Joe has assembled a team of pre-qualified home service contractors to bring you the latest in services, products, and techniques. Now, here's your host, the man with a hard hat and tool belt, Cheka Pro Joe.
This question comes up quite a bit in terms of the electricity in your home. What is a short or a short circuit? So I've asked my friend Gareth Kelly. He is an expert in this field. He's from Dream Team Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Hey, Gareth, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Joe. Thank you for having me on the show.
Sure, it's great to have you here. So we hear this a lot, a short or a short circuit. What does that actually mean?
So a short or a short circuit means there is a connection or something's touching in a circuit or a wire that shouldn't be touching together. So we can have different types of shorts. We can have the short from a live to a neutral, which shouldn't happen, or a neutral to a ground, which shouldn't happen, or a live to a ground. So it means that normally one part of the circuit is touching another part, and that causes the circuit breaker to trip. And sometimes this can happen by having older wiring in the home where the insulation maybe has become exposed and decomposed, so it's like sometimes it gets dry rotted and the wires are now touching together. Sometimes it's caused by an installation fault. The guy installing it could have put a staple in too hard in a wire, and that causes a short circuit. Or somebody damaged the wire, stepping on a wire or hanging something from a wire. So there's multiple ways that can cause it, but that causes a circuit breaker to trip. And if the circuit breaker doesn't trip, then sometimes that's a huge problem. So you always want to make sure your circuit breaker trips if there's a short circuit.
Well, Gareth, and I know you know this, a big problem are rats and squirrels. For some reason, mice and rats especially like to chew on electrical wires. And they could come to a quick death, but that doesn't mean it's good for your system, right? And so that's another thing that can compromise a wire.
Yeah. So some of the wires back in the day were manufactured in plants where they used like peanut oil and stuff like that there to manufacture the wire. So that causes them to think it's safe to eat. And that definitely causes a problem in the attics and where you can get rodents in there chewing the wire, and that can turn out to be a fire hazard eventually. So you always want to make sure that if you do get a rodent or something in your attic, that you have somebody out and check out the wire and make sure it's still safe, make sure they didn't eat anything or touch anything.
Absolutely. Sometimes the electrician will have to go into the basement of the attic to actually track it down to find out where the breach is. And it's so important because Gareth's right. If there is a wire that has been compromised, it can cause a fire and other damage. But in the short term, you won't have power or consistent power and clean power to that circuit anymore. So it's very important. To get a hold of Gareth and his team, it's very simple. All of his contact information is located here in the description of this podcast. Hey, Gareth, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome, Joe. Thank you.
Cheka Pro is your local source for pre-qualified contractors. Stay tuned for more of the Cheka Pro Radio Show.